The cargo ship landed with a heavy thud on Platform 7. Dust clouds rose around the metal legs as the engines powered down. Taemin grabbed his travel bag and walked down the ramp into the hottest place he had ever been. Dust Haven Station sat on the edge of a desert planet, where 3 suns burned in the sky. The station was built from old ship parts and metal sheets that reflected the harsh light. Everything looked brown and gray. The air tasted like rust and sand. Taemin had 3 days to wait here before his next cargo run. 3 long days in this miserable place. He pulled his cap lower over his eyes and walked toward the main station entrance. Sweat already dripped down his back. Inside the station, things were not much better. The cooling systems worked, but barely. Beings from a dozen different worlds walked through the corridors. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like walking crystals. But they all had one thing in common. They all looked tired and thirsty. Water was everything here. Taemin had learned that within 5 minutes of arriving. Signs everywhere showed water prices. A single bottle cost more than a meal. The station had rules about water, strict rules. Each species got a certain amount based on their importance to trade. Humans got a decent amount. They were good traders and workers. The big species like the Korthans got even more. They controlled shipping routes. But the small species, the ones nobody cared about, got almost nothing. Taemin checked into his sleeping pod and received his water ration for the day. 1 large canteen. It had to last 24 hours. He drank carefully, just enough to wet his mouth. Then he went to explore the station. The water distribution center was in the middle of the main level. A long counter with guards standing behind it. Beings lined up to receive their daily rations. Taemin watched the process. The guards scanned ID chips, checked species classification, and handed out water. It was fast and efficient, and completely unfair. That was when he first saw her. She was small, maybe reaching up to his chest. Her skin had a strange shine to it, like oil on water. It changed colors slightly as she moved. Purple, then green, then blue. She had 4 arms, thin and delicate. Her eyes were large and black, with no white parts at all. She looked young, though Taemin did not know how to judge age for her species. She stood at the end of the line, waiting patiently. When she finally reached the counter, the guard barely looked at her. "ID chip," the guard said in a bored voice. The small alien held out her arm. The guard scanned it. His screen beeped red. "No registration, no ration." The guard waved her away. "Please," she said in soft clicking sounds that the translator rendered into human speech. "I need water. My ship left without me. I was sleeping in the cargo bay. I have been here 2 days without water." "Not my problem. No registration, no water. Next." She tried again. "Please, I can work. I can pay later. Just a little water." The guard looked annoyed now. "You deaf? No registration, no water. You are holding up the line. Move!" A large Korthan behind her made an angry sound. The small alien stepped aside quickly. Taemin watched her walk away, her shoulders slumped. He followed her at a distance, curious. She went to different beings, asking for help. A silicate engineer ignored her. A group of human traders laughed and walked away. A Korthan merchant actually kicked at her, making her scramble back. Nobody helped her. Nobody even seemed to care. Taemin felt something uncomfortable in his chest. He remembered other times, other places where he had watched bad things happen, where he had done nothing. He looked away and went to find food. The station had a common area with tables and a food dispenser. The food was terrible, but it was cheap. Taemin sat in a corner and ate his protein paste slowly. He tried not to think about the small alien. 2 human men sat at the next table. They wore security uniforms. One was tall with a mean face. His name tag said, Hyun-woo. The other was shorter and heavier. His tag said, Dae-sung. "Did you see that little bug alien at the water center?" Hyun-woo said, laughing. She has been begging for 2 days now. Dae-sung grinned. How long you think she will last? Not long in this heat. Maybe one more day. Hyun-woo took a long drink from his water bottle, making sure it was loud. These lower species always think they can just show up and get free stuff. Need to learn their place. Station law says we have to give emergency rations to any being in danger, Dae-sung said, but he did not sound like he cared. Station law also says they need proper ID. She does not have it. Not our fault. Hyun-woo shrugged. Besides, makes the boring days more interesting. Watching them beg. They both laughed. Tae-min felt sick. He threw away his half-eaten food and left. That night he tried to sleep in his pod. The small space was hot despite the cooling unit. He kept seeing those large black eyes, the way she had walked away from the water counter, the way everyone had turned their backs. He told himself it was not his business. He had his own problems, his own debts to pay. He could not save every being in trouble. That was just how the universe worked. The strong survived. The weak suffered. But sleep did not come easily. The next morning, Tae-min saw her again. She was sitting near a cooling vent, trying to catch the moisture from the air. Her skin looked duller now, less shine. She moved slowly, like everything hurt. Hyun-woo and Dae-sung walked past her. Hyun-woo had a water bottle in his hand. He stopped right in front of her. Thirsty bug? He unscrewed the cap and held it out. She looked up with hope in her eyes. She reached for it. Hyun-woo pulled it back and poured a little water on the ground. It disappeared into the metal grating. Oops, clumsy me. Dae-sung laughed. Other beings walked past without stopping. Some watched and smiled. Most just ignored it. The small alien said nothing. She just pulled her arms close to her body and looked down. Tae-min stood on the upper walkway, watching. That uncomfortable feeling in his chest got worse. He gripped the railing hard. He thought about all the times he had walked away, all the times he had told himself it was not his problem, all the times he had chosen safety over doing the right thing. He thought about why he had left Earth in the first place. The things he had seen. The things he had not stopped. Below him, Hyun-woo laughed again and walked away. The small alien stayed by the cooling vent, alone. Tae-min took a deep breath. He had one more day on this station, one more day to decide what kind of person he wanted to be. He was not sure he liked the answer. The second day on Dust Haven was hotter than the first. The 3 suns aligned in a way that made the station feel like an oven. Even with the cooling systems running at full power, everyone moved slowly and drank more water than usual. Tae-min woke up with a dry mouth and a headache. He drank half his water ration immediately, then felt guilty about it. He still had 20 hours until the next distribution. He sealed the canteen and clipped it to his belt. The small alien was still alive. Tae-min saw her near the water center again, but she was not begging anymore. She just sat against the wall with her eyes closed. Her skin barely changed colors now. It stayed a dull gray-blue. Hyun-woo and Dae-sung arrived at the water center for their shift. They worked in security and water distribution. It gave them power over everyone else on the station. They enjoyed that power. "Look, the bug is still here," Dae-sung said loudly. "Tough little thing." Hyun-woo walked over to her. "Hey, bug, you still breathing?" Her eyes opened slowly. She looked at him but said nothing. "I have an idea," Hyun-woo said with a mean smile. "Let's have some fun." He went to the water distribution counter and came back with a small cup. He held it in front of her face. The cup was full of clean, cold water. Drops ran down the outside. "Want this?" he asked. She nodded, her 4 arms reaching out. Hyun-woo pulled the cup away. "Then come get it." He walked backward, holding the cup out. She struggled to her feet and followed him. Her legs shook. She was very weak. Hyunwoo led her to the middle of the common area where everyone could see. A crowd started to gather. Some beings looked uncomfortable. Most just watched with mild interest. Entertainment was rare on Dust Haven. "Come on, Bug, just a little further," Hyunwoo said. When she got close, he tilted the cup. Water poured onto the floor. It made a small puddle that quickly evaporated in the heat. She made a sound. Not quite a cry, but close. She dropped to her knees and tried to lick the water from the floor before it disappeared. Dae-sung laughed. "That is sad. Really sad." Hyunwoo pulled out his personal water bottle. "Want to try again?" This time she did not move. She just stayed on the floor, her arms wrapped around herself. Taemin watched from the back of the crowd. His hands were clenched into fists. A young human woman stood next to him. Her name tag said Sujin. She looked uncomfortable too. "Someone should stop them," Sujin whispered. But no one moved, including Taemin, including Sujin. Hyunwoo splashed water just beyond the alien's reach. "Not even going to try? Where is your spirit?" "Leave her alone," someone said. An old silicate engineer. "This is not right." "Mind your business, Rockface," Hyunwoo shot back. "She is not registered. She is not supposed to be here. I am just having a little fun before station admin kicks her out." The silicate engineer shook his head but walked away. Everyone else stayed to watch. Dae-sung pulled out his communication device. "Hey, anyone want to place bets? How long before she dies?" "I say by tomorrow morning." "I say tonight," another security guard called out. "It is too hot today. Look at her. She is almost gone." They started taking bets. Actual credits changing hands. Gambling on when this small being would die of thirst. Taemin felt rage building inside him, but also fear. If he stepped in, he would make enemies. The security guards controlled a lot on this station. They could make his life difficult. They could flag his cargo license. They could do 100 small things that would ruin his business. He told himself she was not his responsibility. He told himself he could not save everyone. He told himself that this was just how the universe worked. But he could not make himself believe it anymore. The memory came back to him, sharp and painful. 3 years ago on Earth. The water riots in his city. Corporations had taken control of the reservoirs. They sold water at impossible prices. People died in the streets. Taemin had been there. He had seen a child begging for water. He had seen men in corporate security uniforms laughing, pouring water on the ground just like Hyunwoo was doing now. Taemin had walked away that day. He had told himself it was not his fight. He had gone home and tried to forget. The next day, he learned the child had died, along with 20 others. The riots got worse. The city burned. Taemin left Earth a month later, running from the guilt. And here he was again, watching the same thing happen, about to make the same choice. Hyunwoo kicked at the alien's leg, not hard enough to hurt badly, but enough to make her flinch. "Get up! The show is not over." She did not move. "I said get up!" Hyunwoo poured more water on the floor. "Look at all this water going to waste. All you have to do is ask nicely, beg properly." The alien lifted her head. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Please." Louder. "Everyone needs to hear it." "Please, water, please." "Better. But you need to do it right." Hyunwoo crouched down in front of her. "Get on your knees, all the way down. Put your face to the floor. Then beg like you mean it." The crowd was silent now. Even the ones who had been laughing looked uncomfortable, but still no one moved to help. The alien looked around at all the faces watching her, different species from different worlds, but they all had the same expression. They did not care enough to help. She started to lower herself to the floor. "That is right," Hyunwoo said. "Know your place." Taemin took a step forward, then stopped. His heart pounded. His mouth was dry. What could he do? He was just one person, one human cargo hauler with no power and no money. Sujin looked at him. She looked like she wanted to say something. Her hand moved like she might step forward too. Then the moment passed. The alien pressed her face to the floor. Her body shook. "Please," she said into the metal grating. "Please give me water. I am begging you. Please." Hyunwoo stood up and laughed. "That is more like it." He held his water bottle high. "Now, should I give her some? What do you all think?" Some people in the crowd said yes. Some said no. Most said nothing. Hyunwoo tilted his bottle and poured water on the floor next to the alien's head. Close enough that she could smell it. Not close enough to reach. "Maybe tomorrow," he said. "If you beg, even better." He and Dae-sung walked away, laughing. The crowd broke up slowly. People went back to their business like nothing had happened. The alien stayed on the floor for a long time. Finally, she pushed herself up and crawled back to her spot by the cooling vent. She curled into a small ball and did not move. Taemin stood frozen in place. Shame burned through him like acid. He had done nothing. Again. Sujin touched his arm. "I feel sick," she said quietly. "Me too," Taemin said. They stood there for a moment, two humans who felt guilty but not guilty enough to act. Then Sujin walked away. Taemin looked at the canteen on his belt. He had half his daily ration left, more than enough to share. The alien was dying. He could save her. But what would happen to him if he did? He went back to his sleeping pod and sat in the dark for a long time. The canteen sat on the floor next to him. He looked at it and thought about choices, about the kind of person he had been, about the kind of person he wanted to be. Outside, the three suns burned. The temperature rose, and a small alien slowly died while everyone watched. The third day began with a medical alarm. Someone found the alien collapsed near the cooling vents. She was not moving. Taemin heard the announcement over the station speakers. A medical team was responding to Level 3, Section 2. That was where the cooling vents were. His stomach dropped. He ran there, still in his sleeping clothes. A small crowd had already gathered. The station medic, a Korthan with thick gray skin, was scanning the alien with his equipment. "Is she alive?" someone asked. "Barely," the medic said. "Severe dehydration, organ stress. Another few hours and she will die." "Will you treat her?" Sujin asked. She had run there too. The medic looked annoyed. "Treat her with what? She has no credits, no insurance, no sponsor. I cannot waste medical supplies on unregistered beings." "But she will die." "Not my problem. Station rules are clear." The medic packed up his equipment. "She will probably survive the day if she stays by the cooling vents. The moisture in the air might keep her alive a little longer." He walked away. The crowd slowly broke up. The alien lay on the floor, breathing in shallow gasps. Her skin was almost completely gray now. No colors at all. Taemin stared at her. He felt something break inside his chest. An hour later, the station announcement system crackled to life. "Attention all station personnel. A formal complaint has been filed against Security Officer Hyun-woo for mistreatment of an unregistered being. Station administration is reviewing the case." In the security office, Hyun-woo slammed his fist on the desk. "Who filed the complaint?" "A cargo ship captain who witnessed yesterday's events," his supervisor said. "He reported it to the station administration before he left this morning." "This is garbage. The bug is not even registered. There are no rules about how we treat unregistered beings." "The captain says you created a public disturbance. Made bets on her death. That violates conduct codes." Hyun-woo's face turned red with anger. "So what? I get a warning? A note in my file?" "Probably, but you need to stop playing with the alien." "Administration is watching now." After his supervisor left, Hyun-woo sat at his desk and fumed. He had been embarrassed, made to look bad because of some stupid alien. Someone needed to pay for that. He called Dae Sung. "Get everyone together. Common area, 1 hour. We are going to finish this." "What do you mean?" Dae Sung asked. "If administration wants a show, I will give them a show. That bug wants water so badly? Fine. I will give her a chance to earn it. Properly." At noon, when the station was at its hottest, Hyun-woo and 5 other security guards dragged the alien to the center of the common area. She could barely stand. They had to hold her up. A crowd gathered quickly. Word spread fast that something was happening. Hyun-woo stood on a table so everyone could see him. "Attention, everyone! This unregistered being has been begging for water for 3 days. She has become a nuisance and a problem, but I am not a cruel person." He held up a large bottle of water. Fresh and cold. "I am going to give her a chance to earn this water. All she has to do is beg properly. Beg like she means it. Show everyone here that she understands her place in this station." The alien swayed on her feet. Her large black eyes looked around at all the faces. Hundreds of beings from dozens of worlds, all watching her. "Well," Hyun-woo said, "get on your knees." She did not move. For a moment, Taemin thought she might refuse, that she might hold on to her dignity until the end. Then her legs gave out. She fell to her knees hard. The sound echoed in the silent room. "Good. Now lower your head, all the way to the floor." She bent forward slowly. Her 4 arms spread out on the floor to hold herself up. "Now beg, loud enough for everyone to hear." Her voice came out broken and weak. "Please, water, please. Louder, please." She was crying now. Taemin did not know her species could cry, but wet drops fell from her eyes to the floor. "Please give me water. I am begging you, please." "Tell everyone what you are. Say it. Say you are nothing." She shook her head slightly. Hyun-woo stepped closer. "Say it, or you get nothing." The alien's whole body trembled. She made a sound like a sob. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "I am nothing." "Louder! I am nothing! Please, I am begging! Please give me water! I will do anything! Please!" Her voice broke into clicks and sounds that the translators could not understand. She was speaking in her own language, begging in every way she knew how. The crowd was completely silent. Some beings looked away. Some watched with hard faces. No one helped. Hyun-woo held the water bottle high. "Well, that was entertaining. Maybe I should give her some after all." He walked to her slowly, unscrewed the cap, held it right above her head. Then he started to tip it, but not toward her mouth, toward the floor. "No, wait," Soo-jin started to say. That was when Tae-min moved. He did not think about it, did not plan it. His body just moved on its own. He pushed through the crowd, walking fast and steady. His hand went to the canteen on his belt. By the time Hyun-woo realized someone was approaching, Tae-min was already kneeling next to the alien. "What do you think you are?" Hyun-woo started to say. Tae-min ignored him completely. He unscrewed his canteen, the one with his full 3-day water ration, the canteen he needed to survive until his ship left tomorrow. He held it to the alien's lips. "Drink," he said gently. She looked at him with those huge black eyes, confused, disbelieving, like she could not understand why someone was helping her. "It is okay," Tae-min said. "Drink." She drank. Deep, desperate gulps. The water spilled down her chin, but she kept drinking. Her 4 hands came up to hold the canteen, holding it like it was the most precious thing in the universe. The crowd watched in shock. Personal water rations were sacred. No one shared their full ration, ever. It was unthinkable. Hyun-woo finally found his voice. "Are you insane? That is 3 days of water. She is nobody. She does not matter." Taemin looked up at him. His eyes were calm and cold. "That is the difference between you and me. You see nobody. I see somebody. You will regret this. I can make your life hell on this station. I can flag your cargo license. You will never work this route again. Taemin stood up slowly. He was not as tall as Hyun-woo, but in that moment, he seemed bigger. Report me if you want. Write whatever you want in my file. I would rather die of thirst than live like you. The alien finished drinking. She looked up at Taemin with tears still running down her face. Her skin started to show a little color again. Faint, but there. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you. Hyun-woo's face turned purple with rage. You just ruined your career for a bug that will probably die anyway, for nothing. No, Taemin said quietly. For something. For the only thing that matters. He looked around at the crowd. All those faces from all those different worlds. How many of you have water right now? How many of you have more than you need for today? How many of you watched her suffer and did nothing? Silence. Heavy and uncomfortable. I did, Sujin said suddenly. She stepped forward, pulling out her own canteen. I watched and did nothing, but not anymore. She knelt next to the alien and offered her water. Here, you need more. The alien looked between them, her eyes wide. She drank again, more slowly this time. This is ridiculous, Hyun-woo said, but his voice was less confident now. Dae-sung, standing behind him, looked uncomfortable. He took a step back, distancing himself. Other beings in the crowd started to shift, to look at each other, to think about what they had done or not done. Taemin helped the alien to her feet. She was still weak but stronger now, alive. He looked at Hyun-woo one last time. You wanted her to know her place, but maybe you need to learn yours. Being strong does not give you the right to be cruel. Being in charge does not mean you get to hurt people. Hyun-woo opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. In the back of the crowd, an older human woman stood watching. Her uniform showed she was station administration. Her name tag read, Bo-Ra. She had seen everything. She smiled slightly and walked away. For several long seconds, nobody moved. The common area was completely silent except for the hum of the cooling systems. Everyone stared at Taemin and the alien he had just saved. Then an old Korthan trader stepped forward from the crowd. He was massive, with thick gray skin and arms like tree trunks. He pulled a small package from his bag. Purification tablets, he said gruffly, placing them in the alien's hands. Make water safe. Last a week. The alien looked at the tablets like they were made of gold. Thank you, she whispered. A silicate engineer came next. Her body was made of crystal that caught the light. Engineering bay needs a cleaner. Pay is small, but comes with water ration and a sleeping pod. Job is yours if you want it. The alien nodded, unable to speak. Tears ran down her face again, but different tears now. One by one, other beings stepped forward. A human woman offered food packets. A small reptilian being offered a spare temperature suit. A merchant offered to register her ID in his company system so she could get official rations. The crowd that had watched her suffer for 3 days was suddenly rushing to help. All because one person had shown them it was possible. All because one person had chosen kindness over cruelty. Hyun-woo watched all this with growing rage. This is against station protocol. You cannot just what? Sujin interrupted. Help someone in need. Show basic decency. When did that become against protocol? She is unregistered. She does not belong here. Then we will register her, the merchant said firmly. I own a trading company. I can sponsor her. Problem solved. Hyun-woo looked around for support. His fellow security guards avoided his eyes. Even Dae-sung was looking at the floor. You are all fools, Hyun-woo spat. Wasting resources on worthless Officer Hyun-woo. The voice came from the back of the crowd, cold and sharp. Everyone turned. Bo-Ra, the station administrator, walked forward. She was older, with gray hair and a face that had seen too many years in space, but her eyes were hard and alert. "I have been watching," she said quietly. "Watching for 3 days, watching how my crew treats the helpless, watching how humans behave when they think no one important is looking." Hyunwoo's face went pale. "Administrator Bo-Ra, I can explain—" "No need. I saw everything." She walked past him without looking and approached Tae-min. "What is your name?" "Tae-min. Cargo hauler. Independent contractor." "And you just gave away 3 days of water. Why?" Tae-min met her eyes steadily. "Because someone had to. Because that is what we are supposed to be." Bo-Ra studied him for a long moment. Then she turned to address the entire crowd. "This station has been my responsibility for 5 years. In that time, I have watched us become harder, crueler. We tell ourselves it is necessary. That space is harsh, and we must be harsh too. That kindness is weakness." She pointed at Hyunwoo. "But cruelty is not strength. Cruelty is the refuge of small people who need to hurt others to feel big." Hyunwoo's hands clenched into fists. "I was just—" "You were torturing a helpless being for entertainment. You organized betting on when she would die. You made her beg and humiliated her in public." Bo-Ra's voice was ice. "You did all this while wearing a security uniform, while representing this station, while representing humanity." She pulled a data pad from her pocket. "Hyunwoo, you are stripped of security clearance effective immediately. You will be transferred to a mining station on the edge of the system. There, you can learn what it feels like to be at the bottom." "You cannot do this. I have rights. I will file a complaint." "File away. I have 3 days of recorded footage, including you organizing bets on an intelligent being's death." "Good luck with that complaint." Bo-Ra turned to Dae-sung. "You participated. You laughed. But you also stepped back at the end. You showed doubt. That saves you from transfer. But you are demoted. And you will spend the next month helping in the water distribution center, learning to treat every being with respect." Dae-sung nodded quickly, looking relieved. Bo-Ra looked at the rest of the security team. "Anyone else want to act like Hyunwoo? Anyone else think cruelty is funny?" They all shook their heads. "Good." She turned to the alien, who was sitting on the floor surrounded by gifts from the crowd. "What is your name, young one?" "Lyra," the alien said softly. "My name is Lyra." "Lyra, I apologize on behalf of this station. We failed you. That failure is mine to carry." Bo-Ra knelt down to her level. "You are officially registered as of now. Full rations, full rights. The engineering job is real if you want it, and anyone who mistreats you will answer to me personally." Lyra looked overwhelmed. "I do not understand. Why now? Why not 3 days ago?" Bo-Ra sighed. "Because I needed to see what we had become. I needed to know if there was still hope for us. If there was still compassion left in this place." She stood and looked at Tae-min. "This man gave me my answer. One human, with nothing to gain and everything to lose, chose kindness. He reminded us what we can be when we are brave enough." The crowd was silent again, but it was a different kind of silence now. Thoughtful, ashamed, hopeful. Soo-jin stepped forward. "Administrator Bo-Ra, I watched for 3 days too. I felt bad but did nothing. I am no better than Hyunwoo." "No," Bo-Ra said firmly. "You are better. You felt guilt. You felt shame. And when someone showed you the way, you followed. That is what separates humans from monsters. The ability to change." She addressed the whole crowd again. "We have been tested. Most of us failed. But we have also been shown the way forward. The question now is, what will we do with this lesson?" A human technician raised his hand. "I have extra water rations. Who needs them?" Several hands went up. Not just aliens, humans too. Sharing became contagious. "I have extra food packets," someone else called. "I have medical supplies. I have sleeping pod space." Within minutes, the common area became a center of generosity. Beings who had hoarded resources for days suddenly found things to share. The atmosphere shifted from hostile to hopeful. Hyunwoo stood alone in the middle of it all. His face was red. His hands were shaking. "This is not over," he said to Taemin. "I will remember this." "Good," Taemin said calmly. "Remember it well. Remember the day you learned that cruelty has consequences." Two security officers escorted Hyunwoo away. He cursed and threatened, but nobody listened. Bo-Ra approached Taemin again. "You are leaving tomorrow?" "Yes. Cargo run to the inner planets. We could use someone like you on staff here. Good pay, steady work, a chance to help rebuild the culture of this station." Taemin shook his head. "Thank you, but I need to keep moving. I have my own things to work out." "I understand." Bo-Ra handed him a data chip. "Full water rations for your journey, and a bonus. Payment for teaching us something we had forgotten." "I do not need payment for doing the right thing." "Take it anyway. Let us do the right thing too." Taemin accepted the chip. He looked down at Lyra, who was drinking water slowly and eating small bites of food. Her skin was starting to show colors again, purple and blue and green shimmering in the light. She looked up at him. "You saved my life." "Why?" "Because you are a person," Taemin said simply. "That is enough reason. On my world we have a word, Kalesh. It means one who gives water to enemies. It is the highest honor. But you gave water to a stranger. We have no word for that kindness." "In my language, there is a word," Taemin said. He smiled slightly. "It is called being human." Sujin laughed at that. Others joined in. Not mocking laughter, but the warm kind. The kind that comes from relief and hope. The common area stayed busy for hours. People sharing, talking, helping. The station felt different, like something heavy had lifted. And in the center of it all, a small alien with shimmering skin ate and drank and cried with joy. Alive because one person had chosen kindness over fear, because one person had decided that today he would be better than yesterday. Because one person had shown them all what humanity could be. 3 days later, Taemin prepared to leave Dust Haven. His cargo ship was loaded and ready. The engines hummed with power. But he found himself walking through the station one more time, wanting to see the changes with his own eyes. The water distribution center looked different now. The guards smiled more. They took time with each person. A new sign hung above the counter. "Emergency rations available for all beings in need. No one denied." Taemin watched a small alien receive water without question, without having to beg, without humiliation. The guard handed over the ration with respect. It was a small change, but small changes could grow into big ones. He found Lyra in the engineering bay. She wore a work suit now, specially made for her 4 arms. Her skin shimmered with bright colors as she worked on a cooling unit. She looked healthy, happy. When she saw him, she stopped working and rushed over. "Taemin, I heard your ship leaves today." "Yes, in 2 hours. I wanted to say goodbye, and thank you again. I do not have words big enough for what you did." "You already thanked me. Many times. Not enough. Never enough." She reached into a pouch on her work belt and pulled out something small and bright. It was a crystal, perfectly smooth, that seemed to glow from the inside. Colors swirled in its depths. "This is a Velran gratitude crystal," she explained. "We make them only once in our lives, for the person who saves us in our darkest moment. It is bonded to my life energy. As long as I live, it will glow. If something happens to me, it will fade. So you will always know I am okay." Taemin took the crystal carefully. It was warm in his palm. Lyra, this is too much. It is not enough, but it is all I have to give. She looked at him with those large black eyes. You gave me everything. You gave me life. You gave me hope. You showed me that the universe has kind people in it. The universe has many kind people. I just happened to be the first one to act. But you did act. That is what matters. When everyone else was afraid, you chose courage. When everyone else looked away, you chose to see me. She touched the crystal in his hand. Keep it. Remember that you made a difference. Remember that kindness matters. Taemin closed his fingers around the crystal. I will remember. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Lyra smiled, her skin flashing bright blue. Administrator Bo-Ra told me something yesterday, something you should know. What is that? Sujin recorded everything, the whole 3 days. Everything Hyunwoo did, everything you did. She sent it to the human trade networks. Taemin felt his stomach drop. Why would she do that? Because people need to see. They need to know what happened here. They need examples of how to be better. Lyra touched his arm gently. You are famous now. The video is everywhere. They are calling it humanity at its best. I do not want to be famous. I know, but maybe the universe needs heroes who do not want to be heroes. Maybe those are the best kind. Taemin did not know what to say to that. He just nodded. The video is being used in training programs, Lyra continued. Ethics courses for security forces, cultural sensitivity classes. Bo-Ra said dozens of stations have changed their emergency ration policies because of it. You started something big. I just gave someone water. You gave someone dignity. That is bigger than water. They said their goodbyes. Lyra hugged him with all 4 arms, which felt strange but warm. Then Taemin walked back through the station toward his ship. People recognized him now. They nodded as he passed. Some thanked him. Some wanted to shake his hand. It made him uncomfortable, but he understood. They needed this. They needed to believe that good actions mattered. He found Sujin waiting by his ship. She looked nervous. I am sorry, she said immediately. I should have asked before sharing the video, but I thought people needed to see it. Was I wrong? Taemin thought about it. I do not know. I did not do it for fame or recognition. I did it because it was right. I know. That is why people need to see it. Sujin pulled out her data pad. Look at this. Messages from all over human space. People saying they were inspired. People saying they want to do better. People sharing their own stories of choosing kindness. She showed him the screen. Thousands of messages. Millions of views. The video had spread across the networks like fire. People are calling it the water bearer moment, Sujin said. Like, when someone does the right thing even when it is hard. They say that person is a water bearer. Taemin felt overwhelmed. It is just water. No, it is more than that. It is proof that we can be better. In a universe that is often cruel, you showed that we can choose to be kind. That matters more than you know. Administrator Bo-Ra approached them. She had a formal data chip in her hand. Before you go, I have something for you. Official commendation from the station. And a message that came in this morning from Earth, from the Human Ethics Council. What do they want? They want to thank you. They want to use your story in schools. They want children to learn that one person can make a difference. Bo-Ra smiled. They also want to apologize. For what? For the water riots 3 years ago, in your city. Bo-Ra's face was serious. They know about your past. They know you left Earth because of guilt, because you felt you did not do enough. Taemin felt his chest tighten. How do they know that? Because you are not the only one who carries that guilt. The riots changed a lot of people. made them question what humanity had become, made them want to do better. She handed him the data chip. They want you to know that what happened then does not define you. What you did here does. You got a second chance and you took it. That is what makes you a hero. Taemin looked at the data chip. He did not feel like a hero. He felt like someone who had finally done what he should have done 3 years ago. But maybe that was enough. Maybe learning from past mistakes and doing better next time was what being human was all about. "Thank you," he said quietly. "No, thank you. You reminded us of something we had forgotten. Something important." Bo-Ra looked at both him and Su-Jin. Humans are not the strongest species in the universe. We are not the smartest or the fastest or the most advanced, but we have something special. We have the ability to choose compassion even when it costs us. We have the ability to see suffering and decide to end it. That is our real strength. "Other species can be compassionate too," Taemin said. "Yes, but we seem to be the ones who do it even when it makes no sense, even when it hurts us, even when everyone says we are foolish." Bo-Ra smiled. That stubborn insistence on kindness, even in a cruel universe, that is what makes humanity special. Taemin's ship computer beeped. "Time to leave." He shook Bo-Ra's hand, then Su-Jin's. He climbed into his ship and began the launch sequence. The engines roared. The station fell away below him. He looked at the gratitude crystal sitting on his console. It glowed softly, pulsing with gentle light. Proof that Lyra was alive and well. He thought about the past 3 days. About choices and consequences. About fear and courage. About the difference between who we are and who we can be. His communication system beeped. Messages from across the networks. People wanting to thank him. People asking for advice. People sharing their own acts of kindness, inspired by his story. He did not answer them. He just flew into the dark of space, a small human in a massive universe. But he smiled. Because he knew something now, something important. The universe was big and cold and often cruel, but it was also full of chances. Chances to do better. Chances to choose kindness over fear. Chances to be the person you wish you had been. And sometimes, all it took was one person, one choice, one act of compassion to remind everyone else that good still existed, that hope still mattered, that being human meant something. Behind him, Dust Haven's station continued its work. But it was different now. The water distribution was fairer, the security was kinder. The beings living there looked out for each other a little more. All because one cargo hauler had decided that today he would give his water to someone who needed it. All because one human had chosen to be human in the truest sense. And in the depths of space, a small crystal glowed with the life force of an alien girl who had learned that the universe, despite everything, still had kind people in it. People who would give water to strangers. People who would choose compassion over cruelty. People who proved that humanity, at its best, was something worth believing in. The ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. The stars stretched into lines of light. And Taemin carried with him the knowledge that he had finally done what he set out to do 3 years ago when he left Earth. He had made a difference. One small act of kindness at a time.